Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a story for you here today titled, My Wife Thought She Got Away with Lying About Our Child, but I Found Out and Divorced Her. So this is yet another story of paternity fraud, where you have a wife who decides to lie about who the real biological father of the kid is. I always say this at the beginning of these episodes. I think that these women should be held legally accountable for lying to these men. Okay, these men who are out here raising kids who are not their own oftentimes put in years worth of love, care, and effort into these children. You know, they put in all the finances, they do the work, they take them to the football games, all of these sorts of things, only to find that the kid was not theirs. Okay, I think that these women should be held legally liable for this. But guys, before we jump into today's episode, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you are new here. And let's jump right into it and see what exactly this story is about. So it's a 34-year-old guy. It says a 34-year-old man discovers a heartbreaking secret that shakes the foundation of his marriage. After years of raising a child that he thought was his own, he uncovers the lie that his wife had buried. Okay. He says, I'm a 34-year-old male, and I was married to my wife who was 32 for 6 years. So he married her when she was 26, he was 28. We met in our late 20s. Everything went great. We got married a year and a half into dating. A year after that, she told me that she was having a child, and he says, I was over the moon. I cried when our daughter was born, held her in my arms, and promised I'd always be there for her. For the next 5 years. So this guy looked after this kid for 5 years, right? Well, you know, obviously she had to have the period where she had the child. So realistically, he was looking after her regardless because she would have gone through the pregnancy. So for the next 5 years, I poured everything into being a husband and a father. I worked hard. I stayed loyal. I built a life around the two of them. My little girl was the light of my life. I never questioned anything. Why would I? So also, guys, consider this, right? What happened here? They got married a year and a half into dating. That's quite fast by modern day standards, in my opinion. This woman is 26, mind you. And then a year after that, they had kids. So they had kids. What was that? Got it married, met, and blah, blah, blah. Right, year and a half into dating. So 2.5 years, and this woman's having a kid. Pretty fast by today's standards, all things considered, guys. And me personally, I think men should always question the paternity of the kid. I think that mandatory DNA testing should absolutely be implemented. Or at the very least, I think the way they should do it is they should make it so that it's default. Okay, so when you have a child, I think that a DNA test should be default conducted. And that way, if your wife tells you that she doesn't want it done, then all of your alarm bells should be ringing, right? Let's continue. Things shifted about a year ago. Subtle at first, my wife started acting distant. She was guarded. Her phone was suddenly face down all the time. She'd go out with friends, but get cagey when I asked who she was with. She started snapping at me over small things, accusing me of being too controlling just for asking when she'd be home. He says, still I pushed through. I figured it was just a rough patch or something, okay? But then came the doctor visit. Right, so what happened? This woman started to display the red flags. She started going out, not telling you who she's going out with. So essentially, she's just leaving and she's hooking up with dudes. Okay, I don't know why, you know, men receive this type of behavior and then they think that it's appropriate. Okay, they want to dismiss it. They want to believe that everything is fine. But me personally, guys, your wife is going out here, refusing to tell you who she's with, calling you controlling. That's some serious, you know, your marriage is in jeopardy type discussion, okay? Like, why is she just going out, probably in the middle of the night, and refusing to tell you who she's with? Like, that is just straight up unacceptable. And a lot of guys will tolerate it. Makes no sense to me. So he says, our daughter had a minor health issue. There was nothing serious, but the doctor suggested some routine genetic testing just to rule out everything. When the test results came in, the doctor said something that made my blood run cold. The doctor said, we noticed some genetic markers that don't match either of you, which isn't uncommon. Maybe you are a non-biological parent. I tried to play it cool, but that sentence buried itself in my skull. Yeah, okay, so now the guy, now he's stressing. Okay, and it's always wild to me how dudes start stressing only after they receive, cold evidence. Men put up with so much nonsense, man. And they're like, oh, don't worry, I don't want to be that insecure guy. Okay, maybe she's just stressed out. But in reality, this guy should have been stressed out back here. Your woman's going out doing Lord knows what, refusing to tell you where she is. I think the concern should have started before the doctor spoke to you, in my opinion. He says, I ordered a paternity test the next day. I didn't tell her about it. I swabbed my daughter's cheek one night while she was asleep and sent it off. When the results came in, it felt like someone had punched me in the chest. He says, I was not the father. I stared at the page, and that was in that moment, I knew everything collapsed. Okay. So this is the moment where he realizes that he's not the father. Let's see what he does. He says, when I finally brought it up to her, I stayed calm. I handed her the envelope and I said, explain this. She didn't deny it. She didn't even look surprised. She just sighed and said, I didn't think it would matter. You're her real dad in every way that counts. I asked her who the real biological father was. She said that she didn't know. Claimed it was a one-night stand during a rough patch in our relationship before the wedding. This is complete nonsense. I would not be surprised, okay, if the people or person, rather, that this woman was sneaking out with, right, refusing to tell you where she's going with, she's probably actively seeing that guy right now. This is why she won't tell you who she's with. This is why she has these little attitudes and she causes problems and all of these sorts of things. Is because she's still seeing the same damn guy. She knows absolutely who it is, or she has a good guess, I guarantee you. Okay, this is complete nonsense. She absolutely knows who it is. It was not a one-night stand. It has probably been continuing right up until this point. She said that she thought it was mine at first, but when the baby came out with very different features, she had her doubts and chose not to say anything. Yeah, legal repercussions should absolutely happen here, in my opinion. He says, that night, I packed my bag and I left. I told her I needed space, and the truth is I was done. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. The betrayal wasn't just about the infidelity, it was the years of lies. The fact that she let me raise a child thinking that the child was mine, knowing the truth the entire time. She robbed me of my right to choose, and she stole my trust. I am so sick of these dudes who say crap like this, right? They're like, oh, she didn't even give me the right to choose. Are you saying you would say yes? Are you stupid enough to say yes? These dudes, right? Something like this will happen to them, and then they'll try and blame it on the trust because they don't want to look bad. Like, oh, it was the fact that she didn't trust me enough to tell me. That's what really hurt. Or, she kept it a secret for so long, and that's what really hurt, and that's what drove it, drove the stick through our marriage, so to speak. It's so stupid, guys. This woman goes out there and cheats with another dude, and you're like, well, maybe if she told me, I would have considered it. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And this kind of thinking right here, is like, these are the types of men that women choose for this because they know that they will handle a lot of disrespect. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Right? The men who think like this, these are the ones that the women know that they can get away with a lot of crap on. They can go out there in the middle of the night and they can call you insecure because you're not going to do anything because you have no self-respect. She knows this. I'm so sick of hearing these stories with these dudes who are like, oh yeah, it was just the fact that she didn't tell me and that was the real issue. No, the real issue was her going out and having a kid with a different dude while she was married to you. Like, these people, these dudes are crazy. Both of these people are crazy. The hardest part in all of this was my daughter. She's innocent. She didn't ask for any of this. And even though she's not biologically mine, I still see her as my child, he says. Legally, I'm petitioning for visitation. I may not be her real father by blood, but I've been there every day of her life, and I refuse to vanish from it just because of her mother's selfishness. So this dude is still trying to look after the kid. Now, I understand that you build an emotional connection to the child. You've looked after the child for many years, okay? But man, it's so insanely stupid, this whole situation. It really is. Like, my goodness. And I'll agree with the guy on this one point. The kid didn't choose any of this. The kid is absolutely innocent, and that's always the saddest part of these stories. So the story goes on to say here that my ex was shocked when I went through with the divorce. She assumed that I would be too emotionally attached to leave, and she thought that I would just get over it, but some things you don't come back from. You don't lie about something that big and expect it to fade away. She gambled on me never finding out, and when I did, she tried to guilt me for abandoning our family. She made the choice. I just reacted to it. How insane is this, by the way, that the woman is shocked that this dude goes ahead and divorces her ass? And then not only that, she thought that everything would be fine and he would just get over it. Absolutely insane. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.